Our first speaker is Halle on Welcome to Pro Recovery and First Convention.
Let's go, Halle.
Hi, my name's Halle. I'm an addict. I'm really glad to be here. I am so nervous. I just want to start a little bit about like where I came from. I'm from Atlantic County. I always say that because I never thought I could get clean in Atlantic County. I traveled, to Florida, to South Carolina trying to get clean. The first time I ever went to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, I was probably 17 years old, and then in and out of institutions for the next 20 years. And, it was a long road. And I live to use, I used to live. And the first time that I tried to get clean, like I said, I went to Florida, and I did NA for a little while, but I definitely struggled with doing all of the 9 suggestions, right? That was not something that I wanted to get with, and I showed up to meetings sometimes, and I made my job my higher power, and I, fell to the side. I think I got a little bit of time clean, and I traded one drug for another, and I ate myself to death, I feel like. And by the end of that situation, I was 200 pounds. I did not feel good, and I was like, I know what will fix this. With no program in my life whatsoever. All I did was go to meetings. And I really thought that I could use, for a week or two, lose some weight and come back. And obviously, I could not stop using. I ran away and continued to use for 5 or 6 more years. And at the end of my road, I almost lost my arm. And I remember being in the hospital and them telling me that they were probably going to have to amputate it. And I was like, okay, let me go out to the car really quick and I'll be right back. And I went out to the car to get high, and then I came back and they were able to save it. And I remember being in the hospital bed saying, listen, whatever is up there, whatever is, hanging out, I need you to save my arm. If you save my arm, I'll go to detox. And I went to detox. I was there for almost 30 days in a detox facility. I didn't go anywhere else. It was just a detox. And I remember they gave me 2 milligrams of Subutex, and I was kicking. Whatever was in my system was destroying me with precipitated withdrawal, and it was the worst experience ever. I was banging on the walls. They had to shoot me with Ativan to shut me up. It was crazy. And H&I came in, right? H&I came in, my skin was gray, I was so sick, and I don't know what I heard, but I heard something that made me think maybe I can give this one more shot. And when I got out, I did 500 meetings in 500 days. I went to meetings every single day, and I got a sponsor. I used that sponsor religiously, and I started working steps. And at first, I feel like I was doing the steps because I thought it, I knew it would save my life, but I didn't really get a lot of reprieve from it, I guess, probably until the 3rd step. And then I remember I kept writing, and when I got onto 8 and 9, I was I fuck with this program. 8 and 9 really was okay, I can get with this. And I fell in love with Narcotics Anonymous. Meanwhile, I had a home group, immediately I was in service to my home group. I remember at 90 days, I was I can't wait to chair, please let me chair. And it helped me start to build a network, because I was asking people that had more clean time than me to come share at my home group. And I was proud to do that. And, it took me a little while to build some kind of self-esteem. I couldn't even talk when I first got here. Hi, how are you is basically all I could get out. And I remember in my first year, I went to a 4-year celebration. Somebody invited me to a 4-year celebration, and I did not want to go. I was inside internally, kicking and screaming. And there was some voice inside my head that later I feel was, my spirit guide, the universe, whatever, working in my life, that was do what is uncomfortable, because this, what I've been doing this far has not worked. And I went to this celebration dinner, and it started to get easier, right? And I just say all this to say the topic is our first Cape Atlantic Area Convention. I remember the convention coming up. I think I had a little bit under a year, maybe a little bit over a year. My clean day is March 23rd, 2022. And so the next one was the one that was in 2023. And so it was like a little under a year, I guess. And I just remember feeling sick, feeling anxious. There were so many people. It was like something I couldn't control, right? And I was so nervous. And I went anyway. I the voice inside my head, I just told, as best I could to shut the fuck up, which I later realized, is like the disease. Like the definition of addiction to me is I fucking hate myself. So any voice inside my head that is like perpetually telling me to do things or say things or think things that is harmful to me, like that's how I know it's the disease. You know what I mean? Like that's how I know that it's like working against me. It's like moving in self-hatred. So anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that. I went to the convention and I was sick, right? I'm sick. I don't want to see anybody, but I want to go. So I went to the convention and I made some new friends. Some people I'm still very good friends with to this day, and it was a good time. I remember it was either Friday or Saturday night. The programming chair asked me to chair a meeting, and I was so nervous and I was so excited and I was so this and I was so that, and I still remember one of the speakers, to this day, she wasn't from this area, and it touched my spirit, you know what I mean? Even, all the conventions that I go to, there's always at least one speaker, probably more, that really touches my spirit. And when I say that, I mean they speak to me in a way that I either relate to, the feelings, or I, remember. The first convention I ever went to was a very big convention in South Florida. There was hundreds of people there. I remember the Clean Time Countdown was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And so when I came to this convention, I was confused, because I was it's on a much smaller scale. And then I grew to love this one so much more, because it's so intimate. I know most of the people that I see, and it's easier to get to know them, because it's a more intimate setting, you know what I mean? So yeah, I love our area convention. I love Narcotics Anonymous. Like I said, when I got here, I stayed in meetings. I went every day. I remember there was this guy who used to say, train your feet to go where your mind will follow, or something. And when things got hard, or things got confusing, I knew to go to a meeting. Over the last year, over the last 2 years, I had a baby, and me and her dad broke up. And it's been like a crazy ride, right? And I say that because when my mind was fucked up, I knew to go to fucking meetings. I did a 90 and 90. And I shared about it. I might have overshared a little bit, but I sure as shit shared about it. And people came up to me and they were like, listen, I get it. You're going to get through this. Let go, let God, all the things that are so annoying. And they really, but I really needed it. And I feel like I started doing that 6 months ago. And over the last 6 months, my spirit has just been totally restored. Because I do what they say to do here, I have never stopped talking to my sponsor. I've never stopped writing on Stepworth. But there was a time that I didn't want to go. I wanted to isolate. I didn't want to see people. I was embarrassed by the breakup. I was embarrassed by, whatever it was that I made up in my head that told me that I wasn't good enough. And I stayed out of meetings. I told myself that I wasn't a part of, I wasn't welcome, whatever it was that allowed me to, not go in meetings. And this is a time span of probably 3 or 4 months. So it wasn't it was, a super long time, but it was enough time for my spirit to fucking be sad. It was enough time to feel I was lost. And I'm just so grateful for the network and the foundation that I did build, because I remembered, you know what I mean? Like I said, my feet followed, I went to meetings, and the fellowship loved me up. And the fellowship, I feel is here, in this convention, all day, all night, there are just people always around, and it's such a moving situation when I don't see somebody for a long time, right? And then all of a sudden I see them in a meeting, they're doing well, this and that. But life gets, life. It's so amazing the amount of things that recovery has given me. And sometimes I don't see people for a little bit, and the convention is just a way that I have, or a vehicle that I've utilized to as an opportunity to see others and reconnect and just remember where I came from. in a sense that, you know, I see the people that like I got clean with, or like I got clean around, because a lot of the people that I got clean with aren't around anymore. But the people that were at this fucking convention, there are plenty of them. And I just think that's really cool, you know what I mean? Like the convention committee is still the same people on the convention committee, like, and it's really awesome. I like to be in service. I've stayed in service like the whole time, but I feel like, you know, being in meetings, because that's what the convention is, it's meetings all day long. There's just like a different thing about it, you know what I mean? It does something different to my spirit than like working, because service also is like a little bit of working. And sometimes I forget that, like, you know, fellowshipping can also happen there. So the convention, like I said, it's just like a good reminder of like people and network and how important it all is. So when I first started with my, you know, network building or whatever, like I said, I'm like a nervous person. I was very nervous in the beginning. And I was chairing at my home group, and I started to like be able to reach out. But service gave me so many opportunities to like get to know other people. Okay. You know, the H&I meeting came in, and like I wanted to be involved in H&I, and you know, I was involved in that realm of service, and I got to like be on both sides of that in terms of, you know, giving back like what I felt like was given to me, because, you know, somebody came into my detox, they shared, I'm friends with her today, I don't know what she shared, but it was like something that fed my spirit just enough to like keep me coming back, and I remember that. So like I said, I'm involved in H&I, and when I first went to my first H&I meeting, I remember wanting to be in service and wanting to take a commitment in, and I didn't get like whatever commitment that I wanted. And I like to say that because I kept coming back. Like I kept coming to H&I to be in service in some way, shape, or form, and it didn't feel good to like not get what I wanted or whatever it was, like to not feel noticed or like heard in some way, shape, or form when I was at that first H&I meeting. But like me coming back and like showing my face over and over, then like people knew that, one, I was serious, and two, that like I wanted to be in service. And I eventually, you know, like became friends with like the people that were in service there. And I just say that to say that like even if you don't get like whatever service commitment that you want, like don't give up, because I really believe service is like so amazing. And I say this to people all the time, if you don't believe service is operating in a way that you can get with, then fucking change it. Because like we need people in service, because like it really does reach, like it reaches so many people, but like it also does something that is like so amazing. Like when I got here, my self-esteem was in the basement, and I feel like I learned how to communicate with others and like communicate with people and communicate like in this kind of setting by being in service. By being in service and learning how to like sign in and learning how to like, you know, buy my literature, like whatever it is. And it taught me how to communicate, and it like gave me like a little bit more self-esteem. Like every time I did it, I got like a little bit more confident, a little bit more, you know, whatever. And it's like a big part of my like learning myself, right? And I'm just so grateful for that. You know, step work obviously is like a very big one for me too. Like that's how like I really got a lot of my self-esteem back, because I was able to, you know, like go through this process and become like a better person, and not be ashamed or, you know, feel guilt about like the things that happened when I was like actively in the disease of addiction. And even like before, what I love about Narcotics Anonymous is like we talk about addiction starting long before we pick up the first drug. And that was like something, and is something that like I can get with, I can stand behind. Like it's not the drug, it's me. It's what's going on in my head. It's like like I said, the voices that say that I'm not good enough, that I'm ugly, that I'm this, that I'm that I need more. You know, like my first like outside addiction was stealing things. Let me tell you, I got picked up like all the time at a very young age, you know, stealing a bra from fucking Sears. A 12-year-old gets banned from Sears for stealing a bra. I can't even stand myself. But like, so I just say that to say that like, I love Narcotics Anonymous because we talk about addiction starting long before we pick up the drug, and that is so true for me. Like I have, you know, the disease of like, you know, I hate myself. And how do I like fix that is like by doing the 9 suggestions, getting a sponsor, working the steps, going to meetings, getting a home group, picking up the phone. the phone was heavy for so long. I was on it all fucking day today. I was on it all day today, you know, calling people, telling them to come so they would so I would feel a little bit better about this situation, you know, because I remember I went to share in Wildwood and I didn't bring anyone with me. And I was so nervous because, and I make up in my head that it's because I didn't know anybody, you know. Again, I reverted right back to the, you know, 5-year-old little girl that didn't get picked in softball or whatever it is. And so I wanted my people here, you know what I mean? To help me feel a little bit more balanced because I have people today. You know what I mean? When I was using, forget about it. I didn't have people, I didn't have anybody. And you know, it just really supports me, the foundation, like I said, that I had, which is the only thing that I got from, the only reason I have the foundation that I do is because I listened to the people that were here and I you know, followed the 9 suggestions. But yeah, I love Narcotics Anonymous. I love this convention. I really feel like I should share more about the convention, but I don't remember my first convention. I really don't remember. My nerves were shot. I was like I said, the only thing I really remember is that somebody asked me to chair, and I was so excited. And it was just a lot of love, you know. It was a lot of love. It was a lot of people, and it gave me, you know, a little bit of hope and the network situation, just in people, in others, in unity. And I really appreciate that about this, about Narcotics Anonymous, that we can all come together and you know, sit next to people that we don't know and leave as friends. That is fucking cool. Because I couldn't do that for so long, you know, and I learned that here. I learned that by coming to Narcotics Anonymous. I learned that by step work, sponsorship, all the things they tell us to do. But yeah, I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for letting me share.